Hey guys, I'm David with Media Unlocked, and today I'm going to show you how to balance your FeiyuTech AK4000 Gimbal. It's going to be really easy. We're going to try to do this in less than 2 or 3 minutes. A few things to mention before we jump right in. Normally, I will be balancing it on a Sony a7 III or a7R III with a 28 millimeter. So this Canon is a little bit heavier. Because the Canon is a little bit heavier, it actually takes a little bit longer to balance, and you have to rebalance a few things to jump back and forth to actually get your balance properly.
Give me back my camera. You stole my camera.
No, Bill, I need your camera right now for this video. So, so it's a 5D Mark III with a 100 millimeter 2.8, and that's what we're going to be balancing on here. And one other thing to mention is that you have a lower section and an upper section. If it is a heavier, longer, so a heavier body, longer lens, you're actually going to want to actually connect it up here to the top. And if it's a lighter lens, like the Sony 28 millimeter f2 with a Sony a7 III, let's say, you're actually going to want to put it back down here, because a lot of it has to be where you move your plate back and forth to make sure that it is balanced properly and it's not leaning forwards or backwards. So the heavier lenses are going to need to be on the back, where the lighter lenses and bodies are going to be on the front. So since we're using the Canon and a 100 millimeter 2.8, it is a heavier body. So what we're going to do is just tighten this on here. Very simple to do. And then once we have it, I want to make sure it's nice and tight. There's no wiggle. So this is what it should look like here. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide this plate back into here. Okay, so the first thing you do once you slide the plate onto the base is making sure, depending on how big the body is, there's a little knob right down here at the bottom. And this will go side to side. So with the Canon, because I was using Sony, I actually had to take this Canon body and slide it further out to the left, or the way you guys are looking at it, to the right. And then you want to leave a tiny bit of room in between the body and this plate right here, which actually, we'll show you how that balances here in a second. So once you get it to where you want it, you're just going to make sure that it's not moving side to side, that is tight. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our forwards and back. So as you notice, if we do it already here, it's way too heavy, right? So we're going to bring it back, and then you just tighten it right here. So we just push this knob back right here, and let's see where we're at. Still too heavy going forwards. So we'll loosen this up, bring this back some more, tighten it, see where we're at now. So we're starting to get there a little bit, but it's still pushing forward, so we still need to come back further. And now it's going further back. So just a little bit forwards, and you're just going to keep doing this back and forth till you can hold this like this, let go of it, and see how it's perfectly balanced, not going forwards or backwards now. So now I'm going to let this go, and if you notice, it's a little bit too heavy to my right, your guy's left. So we'll hit this knob in the very far back right here. We'll loosen it up, and we'll start pushing it to the left, to my left, your guy's right. And now it's going too far here, right? So now I need to just go a little bit back to the right. Still a little too much. Tiny bit more. Okay, so now this is balanced. So once you made sure that you're balanced forwards and backwards right here on this axis, and that we're not leaning left or right, that's properly balanced, and it should look just like that. The next thing we want to do is we want to do the up and down. Now if you notice, it's already balanced, and I'd already pre-balanced this axis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it unbalanced so you guys can see how to properly balance it. So if you notice, it's going forwards right here, right? So as I bring this knob up, and let's say I go too high up, now look at it. Now it's going to go backwards. So the objective is for it to stand like this. So what we'll do is, and this is actually one of the easiest ones to balance. It's going back a little bit, so keep pushing it forwards, going back, keep pushing it forwards, boom. Now, you can put this gimbal in any direction, and it's going to stay balanced. So, there's one last thing, and I think this for a lot of people is the hardest thing to figure out how to balance. So, what we'll do is, and I'm actually going to throw this out of balance on purpose, so if I go like this, and if you see this come up like this, so if this comes up higher above the camera, that means that the camera needs to move forwards. So if I move the camera, let's say really far forwards, and I do this, now you see how it's coming below the camera? So if this knob becomes below the camera, we need to move the camera backwards. If it goes above the camera, we need to move the camera forwards. So let's try to get this perfectly zoned in. So I'm moving this to a little past what's 3 on that, okay? And if you notice, it's still coming underneath. So it's not properly balanced yet. So, and once you've done this a few times, you can do this really quick. So because it was coming underneath the camera, I needed to move it back. So again, and let's see here. And if you notice, it's still coming up a little bit high. So you kind of want it to be centered right in the center of the camera. So you want this to be centered when you're holding this, like this. You want this to be centered in the camera. So it's almost perfectly centered. I'm going to push it forwards just a super, super, super tiny bit. Okay, and let's see how that looks. And if you see, it's perfectly balanced. So now I can hold this and it will stay balanced. So once you've done that, your gimbal's balanced. We can hit the power button on it. Boom, and we're ready to start shooting. It's that simple to balance one of these. So that is how you balance the FeiyuTech AK4000. As always, guys, we'll catch you next time. There'll be a link at the very end of the video. Hit that link. If you happen to purchase this, it does help us out with that little bit of commission we get to keep making these videos. I'll catch you guys next time.
You guys have made it this far. If you want to check out our newest video, it will be right here. If you want to check out the product, it will be down here. If you do happen to click on it and purchase it, it does give us a little bit of commission, and that helps me a lot keep making these videos. And of course, guys, right down below, go on and leave a comment, hit that subscribe button, follow along. We'll catch you next time.